UPL. This is Rock Hands with a very special guest. It's the owner of the UPL with Mandy.
Hi.
Yeah, she's gonna stand in for Jake because Jake's been very busy, and I wish him good luck for all his stuff that he's doing right now. He's trying to get a new job. So yeah,
Hopefully that works out for him.
yeah. We are on what is this week 7 post rankings, I guess.
Yeah.
So we've actually had 3 games not get done, so this should go by really quickly. It's a shame when we don't have people battle because they just, I don't know, it's hard to rank people, and then people that get forfeit wins, you don't know if they deserved it or not and stuff like that. So hopefully in the future this won't be a problem and we can get more
Hopefully.
battles in. Yeah, because I like watching battles.
I like it when I don't have to nag people to do their battles.
I actually did not have the battle this week, and that kind of sucked because I set down time, did team prep, and built a team, and then not getting to use that. I feel bad for my Pokemon. They want to battle, they want to do stuff, and now they have to stay in their Pokeballs forever. But yeah, yep. So
Yeah.
yeah, so with this week, I would say overall the games, other than one game that was really close, I think it was kind of a little one-handed. Like the people that won kind of had control of the game. There wasn't like a lot of turn back after reviewing all the games. There were exciting things to see and stuff like that. But yeah, how did you feel about the games overall this week?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, a lot of the ones that where people won, they won pretty handily, and then there was the one game that was pretty nail-bitey, pretty
Yeah.
long and drawn out. But other than
I
that,
love long and draw though. Those are great.
yeah. Well, there's one thing where it's long and drawn out in the amount of turns. There's another thing when everybody takes 5 million years to make a turn.
Yeah. Yeah, watching them in real time sometimes are crazy. But
Yeah.
all right, so then let's get into this. So with our 18th rank, we both agreed, and it was Calexo. Um,
Yeah.
Calexo didn't battle this week. He had to battle me, so it was the 18th seed versus the 1 seed, and we didn't get done for whatever reasons. So we'll move on from that. The 17th seed was Jake the Cows, and me and Maddie both ranked him at 17th, and he actually had a chance at the end to win the game. I felt, but throughout the whole thing, I felt like he was getting kind of handled by Kid. Like Kid was able to do whatever he wanted against him. But I
Yeah.
feel like if he had SD on Scizords at the end, he could have won. But I thinking he didn't have SD at all. But I'm
Yeah,
not
I
for
don't
sure.
think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got worn down by the rocks and the life orb and everything, and he just couldn't keep it up.
Yeah, and if he didn't have SD, it just makes me think like, why don't you have SD? Like because I have Mega Scizor and I have an SD every week, and it's just there's always a chance that if you get like 1 or 2 up, you can just sweep a team.
Yeah, bullet punch is just too good.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen at some point.
hmm Uh,
Yeah, I just don't think he had a lot to break through Kid's team.
yeah. He was doing good at the beginning. Like he had good switch-ins to Mons. It's just like what you said, the rocks being up and just taking damage over and over. Um,
Yeah.
kind of put him at a fault. So this, I believe, puts him at a record of, was it 1-6?
1-6. Yeah, with
Yeah.
-21 differential.
So it's gonna be like he's pretty much out of the playoffs. Even if he wins the last 4 games, it'll be hard for a 5-6 to make it in the playoffs. But hopefully with Kid, he'll always bring interesting sets. So that'd be good to see if he does
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I've been mocking with this team this week, and it's definitely an interesting team, to say the least. It's interesting to see how Kid uses it.
Yeah, he has a good team and stuff. I think bring a little bit less Mega Haldoon because you don't have Sun and Mega Haldoon.
I was talking about Kid.
Oh, Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Kid's amazing, but like with Jake, I just think
Yeah,
I don't know what Jake said too, but he does have a good team, and hopefully
I don't know why he drafted Mega Houndoom in the first place.
get those extra points.
Yeah, but
There's
like,
other mods to get extra points.
yeah, exactly.
No, I agree with you. So let's move on from Kid to someone that we hold near and dear to our hearts at number 16.
Oh well, still kind of. Yep.
And that's Bryce. I've actually enjoyed watching Bryce's game lately. Is it helping him prep and stuff like that? He's actually been getting a lot better, and
Yeah, he's a great learner.
yeah. And I really thought that he should have won this game this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. He had all the tools, the necessary tools and everything to win the game.
Yeah, and I was surprised it didn't happen. I was a little upset with some of the plays and stuff like that. Mostly was his answer for Amoonguss. Like as soon as he saw Amoonguss take an ice beam from Gudra and it did like nothing, you like should have done calcs and found out that it was AV.
Yeah, he shouldn't have just stayed in and kept ice beaming and kept ice beaming it.
I thought it was crazy too because the Amoonguss kept on just like sludge bombing the Gudra, and I was like, you don't want this thing to get poisoned because like
Yeah, that would have nulled the leftovers, and that would have.
yeah, and I was thinking, oh, Gudra's doing so much work throughout the whole game and stuff, and it being poisoned would like really suck for him. I was upset with how many times he did get Amoonguss kind of like below 50 and didn't switch into Pidgeot, because Mega Pidgeot like hurt his whole team, Silent's whole team.
Mega Pidgeot is so good. It just, you come in and it's like, all right, where's your switch in?
Yeah, I saw that, and so if he would have done like that a little bit more, I thought he had a great chance to win the game.
Even at one point, like, it was so frustrating to watch him because he had Fortress in and he like volt switched against the Amoonguss and he went into Gudra.
Oh,
Like that, like rocks aren't up. That's the perfect opportunity. Go into Weavile or go into Mega Pidgeot and just hit something hard.
100% agree. Like I remember seeing that too, and you would have claimed something. Like nothing was gonna live 2 hits or anything like that. So it was sad. Sad not to see that, but Bryce is getting better. Like he ends up losing this a 0-0. So I mean, it's the closest as you can get for as bad as he played as well. The only other questionable thing I would say is probably don't get down on yourself when you're behind, because then you do stupid stuff. And I've done this before where I just assume a Pokemon sweeps my whole team. And what happened was I think Karen was locked into, what's that, Fusion Bolt? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Fusion Bolt.
And he thought all his Pokemon died from that point, but actually Politoed lived one and would have been able to revenge killed it, and that's all he had to do. And he would have kept Weavile and Azoth alive for the end game, which would have helped out.
Yeah, there was just like this thing Scarfed. You found that out turn 1. There was no reason to go Azelf before you go Politoed there, because like Politoed's the only thing that even would have had a chance to live it.
Yeah.
But you live and learn.
What else? I thought he got unlucky by a flinch during the game. There was like a point where he was trying to get rid of rocks and spikes, and Cavalion flinched him with a Iron Head, which then put him in range to die to, I think, a Z close combat.
Yeah, Titanium Z.
Yeah. So if he didn't get that flinch, he would have been able to rapid spin the rocks away and then counter on that, and it would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been amazing to see.
Yeah, he would have been really great. Good job on him getting his rocks up, because Silent had no way to get rid of rocks, so it kind of like did chip every single time it came in and stuff like that. But Bryce is getting better, and it's cool. He's 1-6 as well, but at least he's being competitive. So.
And the only other thing I'd have to say is like with the whole Weavile thing is like Yeah, it's really great to have people help you prep and everything. I love helping him prep. I've been helping him prep a little bit for this next week, but it's just like if you really feel like you need something like Ice Shard, you're really intelligent. Trust yourself.
Yeah,
If you
100%.
really think, yeah, if you really need to feel like you need something like Ice Shard, then go with it. At least at the end of the day, if it doesn't end up working out, you can be like, well, you know what? I was true to myself, and I thought I needed it, and I learned from it.
Yeah, and I agree with that too, especially because I help a lot of people when I prep. So if there's you have a gut feeling, take that. Like, it's your team, and you're gonna know your team better than anyone throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
So then let's move on to Nakora. Nakora sadly didn't play this week, so there's not any game film or anything to talk about. His team's been falling back. Hopefully Nakora gets back and he ends up battling some games.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So then after that, we have a tie for 13th place, and it's between Hubie and Tempest. And we'll talk about Hubie first. Hubie with the Ultra Beast.
Yeah, his meme team.
Yeah, and people are like starting to figure out how to beat it. I mean, people are just putting up rocks now. Thank God, after like the first 3 weeks, no one putting up rocks. I told him like he has no way to get rid of hazards towards surrounding people. But
Yeah.
also, his opponent took advantage of not only rocks but getting up screens because he has no way to get rid of screens either. So it really hurt him. And then you just kind of know what Hubie's gonna bring, and like the sets and stuff. So
Yeah, his 5-minute prep works for him, but it can be a little bit predictable sometimes.
yeah, I mean he's a better 5-minute prepper like when he has an actual team.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you're never really gonna see Hoobie being the one to bring like some crazy set.
Yeah. So there's actually not really much to talk about Hoobie because it's like we see the exact same thing every single week. Hoobie's a great battler, and like I've said this many times before, I wish he wasn't like memeing out so hard because I love battling Hoobie because he is so good at battling when he's not memeing out.
I think we need to ban him from doing Mono Steel next season, like he says he's gonna do.
Oh God.
No Hoobie.
Well, Mono Steel could be actually kind of good.
See, but here's the thing though, it's gonna change the whole dynamic of the draft, because then everybody's be like, oh crap, if I want a Steel type, I have to draft it first before Hoobie gets it.
That is true. Or no, that's true. There's not that many Steel types.
Or just nobody's gonna have a Steel type.
No, they'll be just
Except for
everyone's
Hoobie.
gonna have to use like regular Aggron and Clink Clink
Oh
and
god.
and Bronzon. He won't take Bronzon, so we're good with that. See, we're good. We're fine. Savali still. It'll be fun.
Hey. Maybe.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the tie, and that was with Tempest. And sadly, with Tempest, exact same thing. He didn't end up battling. I think he got the forfeit win against
Yeah.
Nakora.
Against Byron.
Against Byron. So
Yeah.
so you kind of like just stayed around the same. So then let's move to the number 12 spot, which is another forfeit win with our new coach Adam. We didn't really get to
Yeah.
see much. We finally got to talk to. Did you talk to him a little bit this
Yeah.
last week?
I've talked to him a little bit, yeah, on voice chat.
Yeah, I mock battled with him for a little bit, and he is new, but he was picking it up pretty fast. So I'm excited to see how he does for the rest of the season.
He has a really good attitude about it all. Like I felt kind of bad because he asked me to give Nakora the forfeit win, but I kind of just had to say it's just like that's not fair to those of us that are like 4-3, 3-4 in that kind of playoff race to give Nakora a forfeit win when he hasn't been active at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And the funny part is like there's a bunch of people still in playoff race. Like you
Yeah.
can go all the way down to the 14th spot, and
Mhm.
they're all in contentions because there are
Yep.
like 6 teams that are 3-4, and then there's 2 teams that are 4-3. So everyone's like really close, and even the 5-2 people aren't like locked in to the thing. So yeah, I agree. So we'll move on to the 11th spot, which is another forfeit loss for Byron. He comes in at number 11. As you can see, a lot of the forfeit people are on the bottom of the rankings. But that kind of like, that's what happens if you don't play games. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So then let's get to the someone that was tied for 10th with Byron, and that's Frozen. And man, Frozen has been playing really well lately.
Yeah, he's been definitely doing better.
Yeah, he's kind of turned around his season where he has a chance to make the playoffs. His differentials is still really kind of low, but
Yeah.
but the changes that he made to his team has improved it a lot. Getting Mega Champs helped out a lot, just bringing that power straight ahead. He's been playing better and stuff. He ended up playing Hoobi, which he was smart enough to figure it out that just get rocks up, get screens, and then let his Pokemon do work. Like 2 Pokemon didn't even come out of the Pokeball in a Gliscor and
I mean,
Mega Medicham.
all he really needed was that Infernape. If that Infernape hadn't got crit, it was probably his game over right there.
Yeah, Infernape was doing really good. It was Mixape too, which is like sometimes the hardest thing to prep for because like okay, you see this, you see him throw out a Fire Blast and then you get hit with the Earthquake later. It's like, oh, I was not expecting that. So that's good prep on him too. So it's a lot better than what me and Jake were saying at the beginning of the season where we were harping on him really hard.
Yeah, he's brought himself back into a place where he can potentially, actually get into playoffs and go from there. His team's gotten a lot better with the changes that he made. He's been playing better. He brought himself back.
Yeah, I actually think he has a really good chance to make the playoffs. Even though he's down, he's just really hot right now. So I do know
it's gonna be hard. It's possible. But...
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be hard, and he's gonna have to maybe win a couple games by like 5-0 and stuff to get him out of it. But it's good to see it. I like competition. All right, this is like what I expected out of Frozen at the beginning of the season. So I'm happy that he finally picked it up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Let's see. So then let's move on real quick to our number 9 spot, and we have Silent. We both ranked him number 9 overall. And he was in that game with Bryce. And what I would say, I love the Mungus. The Mungus put in so much work.
Yeah.
The AV Mungus was like able to pivot in all the time to take a bunch of hits, and so was the Reuniclus. Like he used that to get back into to the Mungus to get the regenerator. The misfortunate thing I would say is Amoonguss like never got any poisons off the Sludge Bomb. Like he clicked Sludge Bomb like 20 times and got it off at one time.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it was crazy. Good job on Silent recognizing that Dual Scarfs was really good with Darmanitan and Karam putting in work against Bryce. I think some of the flaws I would say is not a way to get rid of hazards because it really hurt him throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
Especially when you have like Darmanitan and Karam and Accelgor who's weak to rocks.
I agree. And, like I love the Amoonguss, but I hate it too because it's just like so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's just like
It was really good. So I would say that even though like I don't think Silent did anything special at the beginning to like win the game, and I really felt like he should have lost the game overall. But Bryce didn't play that well. But I will say he did an amazing job at the end to win the game. Because he noticed that he needed the rain to be not in play so that Flare Bliss could clean up at the end. So he did a good job at waiting out the rain to win the game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And that's pretty much what it came down to. Bryce had to keep the rain up and Silent had to wait until the rain was over. And at the end of the day, he was able to do that successfully and he won the game.
Yeah, so it's good to see Silent come away with a victory. He is right now one spot out of the standings from being in the playoffs. He is 3-4. He has only a 1 differential, so he doesn't have that bad differential. And he's had some bad luck this season. Like he should have beat Kid earlier in the season, but he didn't and stuff like that. And then when he battled me, I was able to froze a Pokemon that he felt like made a big difference and could have and stuff like that. So hopefully Lux kind of comes more on his side. He definitely has some strong Mons. I was a little sad not to see the Mandibuzz because Mandibuzz is amazing, and I think it's gonna be like defensive Pokemon of the year. I think bring that instead of Reuniclus.
Yeah, that could have made a difference.
Yeah, I think it would have been able to handle a lot more stuff.
I hope he doesn't get hacks in his favor either, though, because he plays me next week, and I really don't want to happen. How about we just don't have either hacks on either side?
No, you gotta have hacks. It makes everything so exciting.
No, I've had enough hacks in the past few weeks to last me like an entire year. I'm good, thanks.
The life of Pokemon, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's move on to our top 8, and these, for the most part, are the top 8 in the standings as well, so everyone that we talk about right now are in the playoffs, and that's important because we only have 4 more weeks, so it's getting close to crunch time. At number 8, we have Dark. And yeah, Dark is he's a really good battler, and he has good preps and stuff like that, but he unfortunately took the L to Ninetales, and I don't think it's like I don't think Dark played that bad.
No, I don't think he had quite as much time as he usually would have liked to prep, and then Thomas brought a really good set with the Uxie and just kind of wrecked him with it.
Yeah, that kind of happens. Dark also didn't have much of a switch in for Terrakion throughout a lot of the game, and then
I don't get could Milotic not have dealt with it?
So what Dark brought instead of a physical flame orb Milotic was he brought a full special defense Milotic.
Oh, alright.
And you could definitely tell that towards the end because the Uxie set that Ninetales brought with the Con Mine got to +4. Or is no
yeah,
+6.
And it still didn't kill.
Yeah, and he hit him with an energy ball, and Milotic lived.
Yep.
At +6 energy ball, and I was all like, what? And then, so I was really surprised, and that just shows you the bulk of what Milotic is. But yeah, he ended up going the special side, and when I was mocking Ninetales, that's what I tried to do at first, but then I realized that I needed a defensive one because I had nothing for Terrakion.
Yeah. I think Dark realized that a little bit too late.
Yeah, his Terrakion switch in was the Latios, but if Ninetales guessed right and Stone's Edge, then it's not going to be a Terrakion switch in.
Yeah, Stone Edge did 70 something percent turn 2.
Yeah, so it was hard for him after that. He was able actually to kill the Terrakion pretty early, but then he still had to deal with Gengar pressured so much. Gengar is really good, but the Uxie set killed him. He had nothing to deal with a Uxie, and I can understand that because a lot of people don't bring a attacking combined Uxie. You know, that's you always see the defensive one and stuff, and he had no answer for that. I was actually a little sad to see the damage that Kartana did to Uxie.
Uxie's just so defensive.
Yeah.
It's just so bulky.
Because he got in there with Kartana against the Uxie and I think X-Scissored, and it only did 40%. So there was no chance for him to kill him. And then his Mamoswine was also slower than the Uxie as well, which he needed the Mamoswine to be faster and hope for a flinch. That was a real thing that he needed a lot.
Or he could have brought Knockoff on the Memo to do some damage and knock off his item, but
yeah,
I don't think he had that.
But with Dark's gonna be fine. He is right now on the edge, but he's a good battler. He comes up with great strats and stuff, and he'll be able to bounce this back real fast. I mean, he did lose to the number 2 team, who only has 1 loss on the season, so it's not like he lost to anyone lower in the standings or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's gonna bounce back. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. So let's bring up our number 7 spot, and that's Jake. And
Oh boy.
you know how this game goes because you actually played Jake this week.
I did.
So I'll let you talk a little bit about the game.
I was so nervous. I did not want to play this game. Jake didn't want to play this game. My hands were shaking. I was so anxious about it. I've been on a losing streak. I just didn't. I mean, all I had to say is Jake misplayed, and it just completely cost him.
Yeah, so it was funny because he was a little bit worried about you. Of course, I team prep with Jake and I mock battle a lot of times, and he noticed like he had no answers for the Entei. He also noticed that you had no answer for the Keldeo. So it was like kind of going back and forth and stuff.
Yeah.
For me, he played awful. Letting Magnezone like die so early was like the worst thing ever in my mind. Like he's been doing well with a fatter team because he usually doesn't play with such a defensive team. But he still makes these mistakes where he lets things die, and he has to keep them around. Like he needed Magnezone to stay around to help with the Clefable, to help with the Crobat, and to help with the Jirachi. Oh my God, my baby's going crazy back there. But yeah, and he just kind of lets it die, and he should have never done that. Like even if he like predicts a move wrong, like he did, he didn't know that what was it, Manectric got, what is it called, Motor Drive?
Volt
No,
Absorb.
No, it's not Volt Absorb. It's the one that raises Lightning Rod. Is that
Oh
what it is?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So he clicks Volt Switch instead of, he should have just like glitched. He said he wanted to glitch HP Ground. I was like, you take the middle play and you click a Flash Cannon and stuff like that. You should have done that. He also didn't have a good way to get rid of rocks again because he went with Scarf Togekiss. And also, right before the battle, he's like, I want to switch Togekiss in out for Mega Venusaur, which would have helped him tremendously.
Oh my God, yes. I know you mocked a lot with Jake. I mocked a lot with Thomas for hours that day, and it's just like he always brought Mega Venusaur, and that thing was a pain because I just didn't have a good way to deal with it. You know, I'd switch in Jirachi every time, and it just knock off my item and do so much damage. And it's like it was such a problem for my team. I had so much trouble dealing with it in mocks, and so to hear that he didn't even bring it, I was so relieved actually.
Yeah, I wanted to tell him so bad that he should bring Mega Venusaur because I've seen you and Ninetales mocking it. I got to see your team and stuff like that, but I couldn't do that. I had to like make him make this decision on his own. He ended up going with Togekiss just because he wanted something to outspeed stuff at the end with the Choice Scarf. But yeah, if he would have went with his gut feeling and went with Mega Venusaur, it would have been a lot better, and maybe he wouldn't have played so bad. But that's not taken away from you because you played really well. At the beginning, I didn't think you had a chance, and then I was like, you know what? Watching you mock against Ninetales, like, actually, she has a good idea, and it'll be good. She'll do just fine with it.
I am glad though that he didn't bring Sleep Powder, because if I had saw Sleep Powder at the beginning of the game, I would have probably just.
It was the worst. When he had Mega Venusaur in the mocks and he had Sleep Powder, it was the worst because I looked at my team and I was like, everything's so essential. I can't let anything go to sleep. So,
yeah, I would not have been happy. I've been dealing with so much status lately with my games. I've just been like, Jake, just take your win. Just don't even do this to me.
yeah. So, go on.
I was gonna say, my whole thing with the Magnezone was I mean, looking back on it, it makes sense that he clicked HP Ground, then he had HP Ground, but my thought was never on that, because it was just like, I assumed he'd have to have HP Ice to touch Donphan, which, you know, I didn't bring, but I knew he was super scared of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just assumed that he'd prioritize touching the Donphan, because that would have probably been my go-to switch in, and have for him to be able to HP Ice it over being able to touch Manectric, which he could just Flash Cannon the Manectric, he did over half anyway.
Yeah, the whole thing was like Magnezone was doing like so much with analytic Flash Cannon that he didn't feel like he needed it. and
Yeah,
the
I get
HP
that.
ground hit more on everything, stuff like that. So Jake falling down a significant amount down to 7. He'll actually be upset that he's not lower because that's how Jake is. So let's move on to number 6, and number 6 is Kid. And Kid's been playing really good lately. He's starting to rack up some wins, but the fashion of him getting wins now is a little bit different than the earliest season. Like earlier season, we're like, how the hell did Kid win this game? Like he beat
Yeah.
Theodore, he beat Silence at like last minute comes back, but now he's actually been playing a little bit better. He's getting used to his team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ended up playing Jake the Cows, and I really felt like Kid was in control of the game the whole game. And then I think he kind of slipped up a little bit at the end where he gave the Scizor a chance to swords dance, like I said, and sweep the team at the end, but it didn't happen. So lucky for him, he was able to bring that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kid played really well. He knew what he needed to do to beat Jake's team. He wore it down. He put in the Volcarona, put in a lot of work. It's like I don't even know the Scizor would at the end. He could have got a sword stance up, but he would have had to have would even a +2 superpower kill Mega Aggron?
I think at that point Mega Aggron was a little low, but Mega Aggron had nothing to kill the Scizor.
Yeah, that's
That was the other thing too, because I saw Rock's Thunder Wave. Well, let's talk about the Thunder Wave. First of all, Kid, you can't Thunder Wave a Espeon. Because first of all, this is bad on Jake the Cows too. Espeon gets Magic Bounce, so it'll bounce back all the statuses to you, and you get nothing done. For some reason, Kid was running Synthesize? Synchronize. I have no idea why you would run that over Magic Bounce.
Yeah, but then again, Kid shouldn't have Thunder Waved anyway, because he should have been expecting Magic Bounce.
Yeah, but that was crazy to me. Okay, so a little bit more research.
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, I think so it was Rock's Thunder Wave, it was Avalanche,
Yeah.
and I don't think I remember what the last move is, so I don't think he had a good way to touch this Scizor.
I mean, he could have Thunder Waved it. Maybe that's about it, I guess.
Yeah, I thought that Kid should have won by more than 3-0. He did get he was misfortunate enough to miss a Fire Blast with Volcarona against the Scizor, which sucked because then the Scizor was able to Bullet Punch, didn't get the burn off of the Flame Body, and would have killed with the next one because he missed, or he would have been able to swept easy. I don't know what the calcs are, because there's a lot of times where I don't run like Fire Blast and I just go with the flamethrowers.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I just bring Flamethrower.
Yeah, because like, especially with Volcarona, after you get a couple of boost ups, or it has what, Fiery Dance? Is that what
Yeah, I
it's
was about
called?
to say, or just bring Fiery Dance.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, if you absolutely need like Fire Blast to kill something, I can understand that, but I don't necessarily think that he needed that in the game.
Yeah, I mean, especially against the team that Jake brought. I mean, like, what was doing, I guess, a little bit more to like the Florges, but I feel like Flamethrower could have gotten the job done.
I would like to say that Savali's parting shot into a Choice Banded Bulu is like one of the scariest things.
Yeah.
Because there's not that many Pokemon in the league that can take a Choice Banded Wood Hammer, and Jake happened to have one of those, and that's Scizor. So you have like Scizor, Skarmory, Celesteela, Arcanine could take it really good, but other than that, and Charizard X. Other than that, you're really limited in the league that how many people can take that. So yeah. So Kid, you're playing amazing. You're in the top 6 in the standings. You're 6 in the rankings. You have a great win. You just need to get a higher differential and just keep on winning. You'll make the playoffs.
He's in a good spot too right now.
So then let's move into our top 5. And at number 5, oh, actually, you and Kid were tied for 5th place. Sorry for that. So you being at top 5, are you surprised?
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I ranked myself like what, 7th?
Yeah, and that's like normally what rankers do. They rank themselves super low. Like I had a bitch about Jake always ranking himself way too low, messing up the whole things. I ranked you 4, and it might be a little too high because if you go by records, you're lower than a couple people. But I just feel like this play against Jake, who was in the top 3, just shows you how well you are. You played well. You didn't take any risks at all, and you had good prep. Was really surprised how well you were gonna deal with Jake's team because I thought you didn't have a good matchup.
I love the Synchronize Vaporeon. That's my favorite thing.
Oh my god! So after I saw you use that, I was like, I wish I would have brought this during the mock battles because I had such the hardest time dealing with Keldeo, and my only switch in was Vaporeon and the Mismagius, but I had to guess what move he was gonna click, and I had nothing like in return on the Vaporeon to like do to Keldeo other than Toxic it. So that's amazing. That is so amazing by you. I applaud you for that.
I was so scared of Sub. I didn't want him trying to, because I knew that he would predict or probably have some sort of an idea that I was gonna bring, like Vaporeon was gonna be my check to Keldeo, and if he thought my way of dealing with it was Toxic, and he just clicks Sub and starts Calm Minding, it's like, what do I do? Like,
yeah, and
don't.
I applaud you for knowing that because a lot of trainers wouldn't be able to like actually see that during prep and stuff, and then they lose because of stuff like that. Because he was a Calm Mind set, and I think during prep the whole sub thing was a like. Well, you could just sub in front of it if you wanted to, but I think he wanted extra moves instead. But yeah,
I get that. And at the end of the day, it's like he said. I mean, like he's claimed and stuff. If he HP grounded like he wanted to, he's like thinks he won the game very easily. I don't think he necessarily just won off of that, but it definitely would have been extremely hard for me to come back from that.
Yeah,
it would have made it a lot closer.
I think, and I'm one of those people like. I don't think one move at the thing would actually totally change the game, but I do think it would have been a lot more difficult for you, and it would have been a closer game. But that's also he knows he plays bad, and you played well, so you didn't make mistakes, and that's part of your play style. Is try to make the least amount of mistakes as possible.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So it's good to see your team moving back up in the ranks since you are a powerhouse in the league. I mean, you have such a high differential for just being 4 and 3.
I mean, I did kind of 6-0 somewhat.
Yeah, it shows how good you are.
I'm not gonna talk about that.
All right, 6 toed, 9 tails. All right, moving on to number 4 is Killer. And then I actually had Killer ranked number 5 overall. You had him ranked number 4, so he's just right in the spot for you. And Killer actually had one of probably his hardest battles of the year with going against Theo. How did you feel about this match?
I felt like at the end of the day, it's just like Killer's great. I hear him in BC all the time, prepping, working on stuff, and just like I feel like he's been playing and prepping really, really well. I feel like he just had a really hard matchup, and he kind of knew going into it that he had a really hard matchup, and at the end of the day, he just couldn't quite overcome it.
Yeah. So for me, what I would say about Killer, like, I question kind of the team he brought because the team he brought had like really no firepower. Like his best mon was I felt was that cat Incineroar. Incineroar did a lot to Theo's team, but he kind of just let it get toxic and it wear itself down. He really needed that pressure. Having like Florges, not Florges, Frostlass? Yeah, Frostlash. Is that it?
Frostlass, yeah.
Yeah. So having that thing come in turn 1 and just basically get like it didn't really do anything. Like it what was the first move it did? I remember it getting toxic and then getting it got put down to a sash and then it toxic something. Then he switched out, he Destiny Bomb, then he Will-O-Wisp the Mammoth Swine, and then it died. And I thought that was totally just a waste of turns because Toxic and Will Wisping against Theo is pointless because you know he has Hill Bell, which he did. So he literally got nothing done with that Mon
Yeah, I
at
agree
all.
with that.
Like no spikes up, no nothing with it. So it's like he was playing behind a 5-6 to begin with. And then what else would I say? I felt like he didn't have enough firepower on the team. Like he should have brought something else other than that. Bring something like Coco. He didn't bring Coco, his best Mon. And I understand Coco didn't have the best matchup, but Coco is fast and has taunt, and that works really well against Theodore if you use taunt and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think also, Coco had a decent coverage for what Theo brought, like Dazzling Gleam, Thunderbolt. He could have brought something like Grass Knot for the Pyro Spine. Probably wouldn't have done that much. But...
Well, just March Madness into the predicting the switch.
Oh yeah, Nature's Madness.
Nature, yeah. I always love March Madness. Basketball, yeah.
March.
Yeah, and the weird thing too is that Killer actually had a good chance at the end to win. Where if you would have made a prediction, which I don't know why Theo did this at all, it was towards the end. I believe Mega Stillix had a couple curses up, and Rotom Heat was in front of him. And then what happens is Killer switches out, and the Rotom Heat does not click over Heat. It clicks, I believe, Defog to get rid of the T-Spikes. If Killer would have stayed in and Crunch right there, I think he wins. Like I don't think the Milk Tank or the Comfey or the Megalati beats the Stillix at that time because it was special defensive because it was able to take like HP fires and stuff really well. So I thought that was super risky by Theodore, and I'm like, I don't remember what his last move is. I know it's Curse Rest. Oh, it's Sleep Talk, Crunch. So maybe it would have been a little hard to take down the Comfy, actually. But you never know. You get defense drops, and you just keep on resting it. Cause
was Crunch his only attacking move?
Crunch was his only attacking move.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't think he won that either way then, because like the Comfy was Life Orb.
Yeah, but the Comfy with the hidden power fire was only doing 31%. So it was him a 3-hit KO after rest. So if he would have landed a couple of Sleep Talks and would have just wore it down and got a couple of defense drops on it with the Crunch, he could have had a chance.
Yeah, he took away his own chance though by like, I mean, I guess really though that's a hard thing to predict. Theo going for the default.
Yeah, well, if I was Theo, I would have just. There was no reason to not overheat at that time.
I don't really know why he didn't just. I guess he was scared of missing.
No, I think he just knew that Killer wasn't gonna stay in, and he knew that the tank growth was. I mean, the tank Tentacruel would come in, so he defogged, then he just volt switch out of there, kill that, leaving it. I mean, it's actually a great play now I think about it, but I would never have the balls enough to take that.
No.
No, not at all. Because I'm like, Tinker's not going to win the rest of the games. I don't care about this thing. It's like, only Stillix has a chance. Let's kill that. So, yeah.
Let's kill it.
Let's kill it. So, bringing that to, let's move on to the next person, number 3 on the list, which is Theo. And we kind of like talked a little bit about him. Like, what do you do against Theo? How do you beat this man?
I don't know.
Like,
nerf Theo?
And I don't play him this year, which sucks because I really want to play him.
I don't play him this year, and I'm glad because I don't want to play him.
Because it's like climbing that mountain and being at the mountaintop if you could beat Theo.
Yeah.
He has checks and answers to everything. It's really annoying.
It's so funny to me too, because his team on paper isn't like what I would call necessarily like the best team, but it just fits him and his playstyle, and he uses it so well.
Yeah, it's so when I like look at his team and help people team prep, I'm like, he only has 2 physical attackers really, and that's Mamoswine and Alolan Muck, and they're both slow, but they both hit so hard and they can take so much damage. And then like everything, he's like, I think he has like 2-3 psychics on the team, a bunch of special attackers, bunch of clerics. I've only seen him bring Miltank as a support mon with like Hillbell, Rocks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yet he's able to do it throughout the whole year. And to me, it's because he is a great battler and he knows how to play.
He knows what his play style is, and he makes a team around his play style, and he uses it well.
It's not, other than, there's not much to say about Theo other than he's amazing. He's a beautiful man. That's about it. So let's move on to number 2, and that's Ninetales. And Ninetales went against Dark. And Dark is always a hard opponent to go against because like you never know what Dark's gonna bring. So the fact that he came in there, got a 3-0 win was great. The Yuxi was amazing. But I think the best thing was I was doing Mox battles with him, and he was bringing Pinsir over Terrakion, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I understand
He wanted
it.
to give it some love. He wanted to let us see the field.
And then after like 5 straight games of him losing, he finally brings in the Terrakion, and then I started losing all the time.
I think he's starting to realize how good Terrakion is.
Yeah, it's an amazing mon. Like, first of all, having just a stab rock move, it hurts. Like, there's not a lot of things to switch into it. And that's really good. He's actually, Terrakion's pretty fast. And if you can guess right, you bring a justify, you know, I mean, it's always justified, but you bring like, what is his Z-Stone?
Groundium.
Yeah, you bring Groundium, so you take the knockoff, take no damage at all, get a +8, and then you get to kill something. I would like to see that more, so hopefully I get to see that.
You say +8?
I mean, no, just +1, yeah.
Just look.
It feels like +8, alright?
+8. Oh wow.
Do you want to see a Terrakion with 1 justified boost, alright, and a Z move? No, this is +8.
+8.
Yeah, but also having Gengar too is really great. It's a really fast mon that does a lot of damage too. I was really upset with him in the draft because I wanted Gengar and he took it right in front of me. That bastard.
I think the main thing is he's finally getting comfortable with using his team. I've been walking with him a lot for this coming up week, and I know you've been helping Kid prep, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a fun battle. I'll put it out there that Ninetales will lose, but probably not. He'll be the favorite. But
You
yeah,
got this.
I'm really excited to see Ninetales like take that Yuxi and see how he can beat his team with it, and use a unorthodox set to win that. I was really excited to see that.
And it's really nice to see too, because like the whole thing he was saying, especially after I 6-0'd him, he was saying like I just don't have any wall breakers on my team. I have no firing power. So then you take something like Yuxi and you make it have firepower.
Yeah, is when he beat Jake earlier this season, I was mock battling Jake, and I brought like almost the exact same set with the Yuxi, and it just destroyed Jake. So
Yeah.
it's good to see it come. I was happy to see that. All right, so let's wrap this up real fast. We have our number 1 spot, which is me. I got a forfeit win against Calexo, so not much anything. Just boring. Yeah.
Still undefeated.
Still undefeated. I feel bad to be undefeated with a forfeit loss. I mean, with a forfeit win. It's not that fun.
Yeah, but it is what it is. You were ready to battle, and he just didn't come through.
Yeah. So then, let's go to our, what is it? Mons of the week, I think. Mons of the week, game of the week. And of course, I will start off as always with the defense because defense is the greatest thing in the world. Defensive Mon of the week. I will say that I had a couple like runner-ups again. I thought the Gudra that Bryce brought was really good. It was able to switch in, take a lot of hits, and just did a lot of good stuff for Bryce in the thing.
Best one.
Yeah,
Not biased or anything.
not biased at all. But I forgot what was. There was another Mon, but I'm not remembering off the top of my head. That was good. But by far, to me, I thought the best defensive Mon of the week was Amoonguss. It just soaks so many hits up, and with the regenerator, it was really annoying. and it gave Bryce problems. And I really think it was the main reason why Bryce lost, because it was able to come in multiple times, run, stall out Rain. It did ended up eventually getting a poison on the Gudra and on the Mega Pidgeot, which helped with his victory and stuff like that. And when you have a Mon that can take hits like that and then just regenerate health, it's really good. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
So that brings us to you are standing in for Jake, and you're picking the offensive Mon of the week.
I don't really think I have a right to choose that because I'm a pretty defensive player, but so just keeping with that theme, Yuxi, because it's bulky and it literally did kill pretty much everything on Dark's team single-handedly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know you were telling me that Fernape was a real good chance at winning too, because it did do
To be
work.
fair, that was also 2 a.m. and
No, I thought Fernape was a good one too. Yuxi, definitely. The fact that I was able to calm mine up and just like destroy Dark's team. The only thing is I was a little sad, and I'll bring this up again, that it got to +6 and wasn't able to kill my low tick with an energy ball. That was crazy to me.
Yeah, I do think it might have been a roll. Maybe. No, he lived on
10%.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Maybe, but that's crazy to me. My low tick. Look at that. Oh god, I need to draft that Mon. I've never played with it.
No.
I need to play with that Mon.
No, you don't. No, you don't need to do that, Mon.
Yeah. Oh god. I'm drafting next season. So
Oh god.
let's move on to the game of the week, and I feel like me and Mandy both agree with it. It is a Bryce and Silence game of the week. There's not many times where you see a game end on a 0-0, so it was definitely exciting towards the end of the game. So yeah.
I mean, it was a nail biter. We were all watching it live, and I'm not gonna lie, for a while we were kind of bored, but in hindsight, it was pretty close, and it was nice to watch, and nice to see.
Yeah, when you watch it on replay, it's not so bad because everything's going real fast and stuff like that. But yeah, it was. I was excited. I mean, I was at the very end. I was like, "Well, who's gonna win this?" I'm like, "Oh, I think Bryce has this." Oh wait, ooh, good job, Silent. Like that was happening. So yeah.
We were all rooting for like the confusion on the Reuniclus with the Mega Pidgeot. And it's like, there's a chance.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that was insane when that was happening. Cause I think like Reuniclus was at full, came in, took a.
They had to calm mind up.
Yeah, okay, it got a calm mine up. Then Mega Pidgeot came in, and then hit it with a Hurricane. Got the confusion, and got confused twice in a row. That shit was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite the game.
Yeah, it's definitely quite the game. So yeah, props to you, you two coaches for having a great game. Props for Silent having the defensive Mon of the week, and Ninetales for having the offensive Mon of the week.
They all did pretty good.
Yeah. So that's gonna wrap it up for us this week. I will say bye from the #1 greatest league person ever, me, and then and then you have Mandy over here.
And then you have me. And I try. I nag everybody to do their battles. That's what I do.
Yeah. And I really appreciate you filling in for Jake this week. It's nice having the owner of the league voice her opinion out here.
And I'm pretty awful at it, but thank you.
Okay. So bye. My baby says bye to everyone. Mandy, do you say bye?
Bye.
Bye.